probably live now, but let me get the confirmation.
Probably.
Well, it says live on Zoom, and there it is, live on Facebook. Welcome back. I'm Melissa Katie, the Challenge Doctor, with my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cuccaro, the Change Physician podcast. If you are seeing me on the Challenge Doctor page, it is just a cross post from the Change Physician. If you don't know what the Change Physician is all about, you can go to thechangephysician.com to learn more about us as the hosts, or about what our purpose and mission and what this is for. But it is for those who are physicians or physician allies who want to potentially learn some strategies, skills, mindsets to live a more fulfilling career or life in general. So welcome to our Saturday salutations, which we've shifted over from our Friday faves and our Monday motivations.
We're going to cover all the days of the week at some point.
That's right. That's right. So what we do on Saturday Salutations is just to say hi and let you know what happened the last week and what's coming up in the next week in our podcast, and maybe share a few tidbits from our past week, our favorite thing, or whatever we're grateful for, or, just some cool happenings. So, hi, Kevin.
Hi. Salutations, Dr. Katie.
Salutations.
Are you feeling amazeballs today?
Amazeballs. Yes, that threw me for a loop when you said that on our recent recording. So, yeah, amazeballs.
Amazeballs. I'm going to use that more often, I think. Today is amazeballs. In fact, this is the word for the day, folks. Are you having an amazeballs day? I hope so. If it's not, what could you make it more amazing or more bally?
Well, what does that mean?
Amazeballs? Yeah. It means it's balls of amazing, dude. That's what it means.
Dude, I feel like I'm just dropping in the 70s right there, but go 70s. For it. I don't know.
Come on. 80s. Like... I grew up in the 70s. We
maybe
used
80s. Yeah. Okay. Well, you want me to say what's happened the last week, or you want to mention it?
I will mention it with the episodes that have dropped over the past week. And what we had was number one, no one cares more about you than you, which sounds kind of self-explanatory, and it should be self-explanatory.
The 18th. Yeah. Why we all need to play. Let's do that one first.
The 18th, but we're
today's the 24th.
Oh yeah, you're right. All right,
amazeballs.
These days just make me difficult. So why we all need to play, or we all need play. And we talked about the importance of play and how we somehow lose that as we get older. Actually, I was just looking at this morning, I was just reading something about that. And I think it had to do with a movie I'm going to watch. So I will give you an update on that, where I watched this movie, which talks about, how we lose that capacity, or we seem to lose that capacity to spontaneously play that we did. Kids are so good at it, and we need to look back at those kids and discover how to play. Yeah. Following that up was what no one cares more about you than you, which again sounds sort of self-explanatory. And yet we all, I'm going to put a big all there, tend to neglect that, where we think, oh, I need to do this for this person, or I need to watch out for this person, or I can delay this for them until I get to it. And it really is, the analogy of putting the mask on the plane, and how important is that self-care aspect of it. It's not being selfish. In fact, in some ways, it's being selfish to not do that, because now you're putting the onus of responsibility on somebody else. Another fun episode. And then the other two episodes to discuss, the other one dropped actually 2 days ago. We'll drop tomorrow. And this is going to kind of hit a theme that is going to be recurrent over the next probably month with some of the episodes about retirement, financial independence, and things like that. So part one, we talk about what are your fears about retirement, where it's basically me and Melissa, and we're talking about our own personal fears when it comes to either the numbers and the drawdowns and the financial instability, or the scaredness, if that's a word, that comes with not having a employed income anymore. And then we're going to follow that up with what are your non-money fears about retirement. So then we're going to talk about the fears specifically about other things related to it. That one particular for me is a big deal, because I do have a fear, and I'll mention it more in that particular episode, about meaning, right? We get attached to something. If you have external motivators, and now you have to switch to this sort of internal motivator and find things that matter for you for those reasons, and then do them. That can be very difficult to do if you haven't developed that skill, and you haven't kind of worked on stretch that muscle and made it grow in hypertrophy. So those are fun episodes. And then we have, does that cover us through the week, or we don't have to talk?
That'll get us through Thursday.
Right.
I
confusing.
Yeah, it's a twofer this next week of the part one and part 2, and I was going to say something right in the middle. I didn't want to interrupt you, and now I've lost it, but that's okay. This whole thing about fears for retirement stimulated something in my head, but
Lost it.
yeah. Well, I
I'm
just
sorry.
lost it.
I got
That's
lost now.
okay. You just kept talking away, and I let you roll. Good.
You said, "Stop right there! Stop! You're talking too much."
No. I think it's I think there's if any. Oh, this is what I was going to say. If anyone thinks they're too young to listen to this, we're in our 40s. If you think you're too young, then you definitely need to watch it, because the art of compounding interest is in your favor. So you should listen up, especially for this upcoming month of retirement related type of discussions, especially one we just recorded today. We're not going to say it. You got to stay tuned on our Saturday Salutations to hear what this amazing set of people discuss with us.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
Truly amazing. So hang tight with that. Well, our final section is just talk about what's happened this last week, and I could start.
Yeah, please do.
I'll take care of myself first, because no one cares more about me than me. No, just kidding. I care about you though.
But not as much about me as you.
Well, I don't know. That's hard to say.
But again, that's why we talk about that episode. Is that important? And as a parent, like that's really, really difficult. Yeah, it's really difficult, I guess, as a parent, because that's Anyway, but we really got to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you can't take care of the people that are important to you. And
speaking of that, play is part of taking care of yourself, and I struggle to work with that sometimes, or to do that more, especially when you get serious about stuff. But I will say I will tie in and segue into one of my favorite things this past week, and that is I went to go watch Old, the movie by M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. Yeah. Was it good?
It was good. And without giving away anything or telling too many details, there are moments in that film, actually I didn't expect to be emotional, first of all, like in a sense of not, usually I think of being like, freaked out or scared, or like, with some of the stuff he puts together, and it really just kind of like shakes you. But there were moments I was melancholy and shed a couple tears, and I think it was because of the power of what the theme of the movie. Everyone kind of knows from the preview that people are getting old really fast.
I don't know anything about the movie other than
the trailer essentially is depicting this. They go on a vacation to this island. They go on a beach, and people are like, in 30 minutes, they're like aging like a year, something like that.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. So if you imagine that theme, all the weird things that can happen in a way that it reveals some of the most powerful messages and lessons about life and what's important. And so there's some moments of like, oh my God, like it shakes you to your core if you're really, really like ingesting the movie and and really absorbed by it. And I was just taking it in, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's just another reminder of like how fleeting things can be, and it was just more pronounced in this kind of thing.
Very dramatic. Yeah.
Very dramatic. Yeah. But I think it's worth a watch, and yeah, I thought it was good. So that was my favorite thing for the week.
Well, that's a pretty intense favorite thing to kind of lead off there.
Yeah, but I don't mind being shaken to my core a little bit, because it brings clarity.
It does. I sometimes think, there's this difference. There's an importance of awareness, right? We talk about awareness, and you have to be aware to have those insights on a movie like this. But then I sometimes think that there's a beauty of kind of total blissful ignorance. I call it the Forrest Gump stage. Like Forrest Gump, he just kind of cooked through life. Everything was just how it was, right? You didn't think deeply about it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm such a big thinker that sometimes I'm like, oh, I wonder what that's like. Because it seems, everything turned out for Forrest Gump. I mean, granted, it doesn't happen all the time, but you can think a lot and be a big thinker, and everything might not turn out either. So maybe two approaches. There's the awareness approach, and then there's a completely unaware. But long story on that was that the unaware would probably watch a deep movie like Old and then just be like, oh, people got old. And they would have no emotional engagement with
no,
it.
there's definitely people that do that. I read into it more. That's all.
Well, it was because you're a deeper person,
Yeah,
You're not Forrest Gump.
No, well, I'm not you either.
Yeah, I'm not Forrest Gump either. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, what about
So
you?
my favorite things this week was it's fruit season. So did I talk about we get the fruit subscription? So it's sort of like
you mentioned before you get all these cool things that are of season.
Yeah, so we're getting the fruits, and every week we get a bunch of fruits, and we get the peaches. And then this week there's a local blueberry place, Anderson Blues, if anybody's in Corvallis, that nobody has the blueberries like them. So we got some from our fruit basket thing, and then I went and buy some from Anderson. They're so good. But we got 15 pounds of legacy blueberries. I just love blueberries, and I love I know I've talked about how fruit here, my point of view on fruit has changed so much because we have such different varieties, and I never understood how literally different blueberries have different tastes and different taste profiles. And I just am so appreciative of it. And then I looked at my Facebook feed and it popped up, and literally a year ago this time, we bought 15 pounds of legacy blueberries. I'm like, whoa.
I remember those pictures.
Yeah, I almost posted it again because the same day I saw that pop up, I walked in with 15 pounds of blueberries again.
There you go.
So it seems to be a recurrent theme, but yeah, it's definitely the fruit, and it's definitely something to be appreciative of. Yeah, so that was my favorite thing, is the fruit this week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Blueberries and old blueberries. That's our two.
That's so cute. Oh, one last thing. So the other super favorite thing, and this sort of transitions maybe not quite to this week, but the week before, is we had a whole bunch of fruit. And then what my wife did is she decided to make jam out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. It was a blueberry, blackberry jam, and with some bourbon. Cause she's like, well, what can I put in there? I'm like, oh, we have some bourbon. I would do this, and oh my God. Freaking amazing.
Nice.
We went through 2 jars in a couple days because it was so good. And I think it was me and my son were the predominant eaters of it, maybe a couple other people, but it's like so good. I'm like, my mouth is like dripping just thinking about it right now. And we have 3 jars left, and it's like, ooh, I want to open one, but it'll be gone if I open it.
So yeah, bourbon, is it help preserve it?
There's just a flavor. So some of these jams you'll put a little alcohol in it, and I'm not sure, it's not a preservative in any way, shape, or form, but it adds a different taste profile to it. I really like the bourbon. Other things that because we bought, for when you kind of are traveling around, or I guess vacationing, when we talked about that in one of our recent episodes. Food is a big one for me because of all the, you can buy crap wherever you are, but local foods are really difficult to do. Local honeys, they have different flavor profiles based on what the honeys, what the bees are doing. So I like to buy honeys where I am. And then jam. So we had some local jams that we were buying when we stay out on the Oregon coast every summer. And they've done some sort of like bourbon blackberry, blackberry habanero, and they do these different taste profiles in there. And bourbon really comes through in a really, really nice way with with black and blueberries. So it highly recommend it. If you make jam, folks, put a little dash of bourbon in there, and it'll make it better. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think that was a perfect Saturday salutations. Do you want to wrap us up?
Wrap us up? Oh, fine. Well, thank you for joining us on today's Saturday salutations. We hope that your day is going amazeballs. And if it isn't, you need to grab some more amazeballs and just toss them into your amazeballs bucket. If you're interested in learning more about the Change Physician, the Change Physician community, please join us at thechangephysician.com. Otherwise, you can see us live and see my co-host's lovely face and my bald head on our YouTube videos, or on our Saturday Salutations, which is a live Facebook stream. Or if you want to hear us, you can go to any of your major podcasting networks and catch us there, whether it's Spotify or iTunes or any of those. And if you are there, would you drop us a review? We would love to hear, or at least to see the review and see what you say, and maybe get in contact us again at thechangephysician.com.
See you later.
Amazeballs.